Hey everyone!
Hey,
I'm
welcome
playing.
to After Hours. What are you playing with?
I am playing with all of our new technology.
Right?
All the new technology that I find.
You
I said I
find?
want to try this, and you're like,
And
okay.
you're our guinea pigs.
And you're the guinea pigs. Welcome in. Welcome in, team. Welcome in.
So I
Okay,
think
this is
what
exciting.
so I think we'd be streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Is that what we're trying to do
Yes.
today?
Yeah, today we're trying to go to all three of those platforms successfully. We did Instagram once, and it didn't work out
Quite
beautifully.
well.
So we're working on that, but I think I've got that squared
You
away
think you have that figured all
today.
out?
Yeah, I think I've got that all put together. So that's
Alrighty,
oh,
that's
there's that
good.
mom,
That
mom,
one
mom.
works.
That's loud.
I know.
Golly,
I
that's
thought I had the
loud.
noise off. I did it apparently.
So yeah, that's the ones that we're going to, and so that's
Cool.
all exciting. So tonight we've got a really cool episode for you here at After Hours.
We do?
We're going back. I think it's cool. I don't know what you think,
No,
but I
it's
think it's
pretty
cool.
cool. It's pretty cool. Corey did a lot of research for you guys today. We knew like half of it, because we've been around the industry a long time, but we found out a lot of more little details today. Corey has some good information for Thread Education video.
Threaducation Thursday today. As always, before we get started, no matter which platform you're watching this on, Facebook, make sure you give us our page and the video a big thumbs up and a follow. If you're watching us on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe to the channel right now at the bottom right corner. If you're watching us on Instagram, please make sure you follow our page.
Yeah.
If you're watching us on any one of those and you're not following or liking the other platforms, go do it. We have different things drop on different platforms at different times, so it's really cool to see what's going on here at Lindo's.
Exactly. And if you haven't been to our website lately, you should check it out. Corey has a new thing on the website called Corey's Cash, and super easy to use.
We
and
love
find and
savings.
get. Yeah. So go check that out and sign up for that rewards program.
Woohoo!
Alrighty.
Okay.
So let's talk Thread.
Let's talk Thread tonight.
Thread, yeah.
So we get a lot of questions, both on social and over the phone, about like what is the difference between text and weight.
Exactly. So basically, what is the importance, right? What's the importance of knowing the threads? What types there are, what kind there is, and what size? And that's kind of what we want to bring to you tonight.
Yeah, it really helps you make a educated decision when you're going to try out a different thread, because we always recommend play around with different threads because they all do something different, which is great. But knowing what you're kind of getting into is going to be a lot easier and kind of build a little bit more confidence with you.
Exactly.
When you're excited or when you're wanting to go try out new things.
Try new things.
Yeah.
Or if you get a new machine, no matter the machine, whether it's sewing, embroidery, quilting, it's good to understand the difference between threads. Because if you go to even if you come to our store, we have like 26 different lines of thread, and it's like, okay, which one do I need? Which one do I use? And there's probably 100 different, if not more, kinds of threads out there. So this gives you a lot of information for that.
Definitely.
So I think let's start at you want to talk about the weight first?
I think I want to talk about the importance of weight.
Okay, let's talk about that. Because that's probably the most common thing people see out there, especially from the sewing world.
Yeah, from the sewing world, the most common thing you're going to see on a thread would be the weight number. So like a 50 weight or a 40 weight.
Yeah, which I always tell Corey, #50, #40.
She didn't no, calm down. She didn't used to do that until she got into all the social media. Now she thinks she's funny. She's like, #50 weight. And I'm like, okay, mom. Anyway. But it keeps her young. She likes that. So that's right. Good. And if you are watching us right now, make sure you comment where you're watching us from. It'll pop up in the feed and we'd love to see that. So thanks for doing that.
Awesome.
So the importance on the weight of thread, that's going to help you determine really whether it's thinner or a heavier thread, lighter thread or a heavier thread. It's also going to help play a role in the density of the quilting, the overall look of the quilting or embroidery or sewing. That's always something good to think about.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at the weight of thread, you're also looking at tension on your machine. You're also looking at needle size on your machine. It all plays a role in how your stitch ends up looking.
They all have to be happy together.
And they all have to work in perfect harmony. Perfect harmony, which is something that you can look at. Now, a lot of the information that we're talking on tonight is a good thing to go and talk about.
Yeah.
Superior Threads has amazing education tabs on their website.
They do.
Of different things that are available for education-wise, thread tech, all sorts of different things, troubleshooting. And so we've gotten some great articles from that and did some reading on that. So those are available on their website. So did you know when it comes to embroidery designs, most digitized designs are built like in softwares for a 40 weight thread?
So I didn't know that until a few minutes ago.
Yes.
And I was like,
well, welcome.
I know, welcome.
That might be why your embroidery journey stopped so fast.
I might have did it like 3 or 4 times and decided I cannot figure this out. So
She
I've just
tried.
moved
That's
on.
all that
I did
matters.
try.
She tried.
Yeah.
But if you like go down in weight of thread, so if you go like to a 30 weight thread, which is technically a heavier thread, it could cause your design to look a little bit lumpy and have like the threads like kind of overlap one another the improper way.
Yeah.
And that could cause like loops, thread breakage, shreddage, all sorts of things. So if you go in different like sizes of thread, whether you go higher in weight or lower in weight,
correct,
you have to make adjustments to your design digital wise
if you want to use that different
if you want to use that different type of thread successfully. Now, I'm not saying that if you've done it and it's worked fine, that's great, but every thread is different. So it's kind of like an overall general rule of thumb that most digitized designs are built for a 40 weight thread. That's why you see most embroidery threads like Glide. And like Affinity and like Fantastico, if you're looking for like a variegated one, they're all 40 weight for that reason. I had no idea.
No,
the more you know.
The more you know.
The more you know.
That's
here
right.
at Linda's. That's what we're here to do. We're here to help you out.
There you go.
So that's going to be in that. When it comes to needle size, this is fun. You're going to love this one.
Okay.
A general rule of thumb is you want to have the what is this thing? The eye.
The eye. Right over your eye. Really, Corey?
The eye of the needle. You want that generally to be 40% larger than the diameter of your thread.
So do we have to get out tools?
You got to bring out the tool. You got to go into the garage, get the little measuring thing digitally. And then I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Like most common, like quilting needle size wise, you're seeing like a number 18 or 4.0. For sewing, you'll normally see your most common one at about a 14 size. That's kind of your most common needle. What are you doing, Mom?
I was trying to see all the comments.
Oh, you're playing with all the chats.
There we go.
So you can scroll up and down there. Look at the technology.
I know.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in.
Exactly. Thanks for joining in our conversation.
And then the weight also comes into effect with your tension. If you go to a thicker thread or a thinner thread, we're going to use those terms loosely tonight, but a thicker thread or a thinner thread, you do have to make slight adjustments because it changes how it comes out of your bobbin, how it comes through your machine,
how it goes through the needle,
how it goes through the needle and everything. So that can cost so many, like there's so many pinpoints, little check mark boxes that you've got to go through when you change different things. And it's not to scare you. It's just to bring that confidence that when you're like Diana going through your embroidery journey and you use a thicker thread and you get frustrated and then you sell the machine because it's the machine's fault. And she just learned. She was today years old when she found out that it's the thread that caused a little bit of an issue in her journey.
I had no idea. Now I know.
So it's time for you to go buy another machine and get started again.
Maybe another day.
Maybe another day.
Maybe
okay.
Another day.
Okay. So how do you determine the weight of the thread? This is where it gets hilarious.
Yes.
Honestly, because I think some of this stuff is made up, but it's not. It's the truth. It's just how they're all planned out.
I know when Corey was reading that, he's like, "Is this for real?"
I was really like, "Who came up with this formula to make this work? Because this doesn't make any sense." I mean, it does, but it doesn't.
Kind of does.
So Anyway, so with weight.
Well, unless you're like a scientist and you're really into this stuff, this actually might make sense to them.
I'm not a mathematician, though.
I know that's true.
Yeah, I'm no scientist.
Okay, tell us about the weight.
Okay,
Sorry.
all right, the weight. Okay, so with the weight, the smaller the weight, so if it's a 12 weight, the heavier the thread, or the thicker the thread. The higher the weight, so if it's like 100 weight, like micro quilter, the thinner or the lighter the thread on that one. So that's always something to keep in mind as you are looking. So how do we determine weight? So weight is, but I got my handy dandy notes.
I know. We want to make sure we say it right.
So weight is based off a measurement. So if a thread is labeled a 40 weight, that means it takes 40 kilometers of that thread to weigh 1 kilogram.
Did you get that? Because I had to write it down. So basically, 1 kilogram.
Weight, when you're looking at weight, 1 kilogram equals
40 kilometers of thread.
That would make it a 40 weight.
Would make it a 40 weight.
Yeah, thread.
Of the actual thread.
So if you only use 30 kilometers of the thread
to get to
1 kilogram, that would be a 30 weight thread. And because you're using less, that means it is a heavier, thicker thread.
Oh. Yeah, I
because
guess
it
so.
takes less to get to a higher or to get to that same number.
That's true. That's true.
Or the other way, it takes more to get to that, so it makes
So
it
if I
a
was
thinner,
using a
lighter thread.
60 weight,
Then it would be 60 kilometers of thread would equal 1 kilogram. Makes it a
Okay.
60 weight.
okay, I might be able to remember that one compared to some of the others that we
Well,
looked
it's not
at.
bad. That one's not bad. It's basically how many kilometers of thread equals 1 kilogram.
And that gives you
That
your
gives
weight.
you the weight.
That's a good way to look at it.
But it's like, why? Why do we need to know that? Okay. But it's a very interesting topic when you're looking at trying to figure that out and
So-
going through that.
And so while we're going to the next topic, we had
Mhm.
a question: is glide for the embroidery machine the same for the quilting machine?
Very good question.
Yeah.
So Glide, and Happen-Dash can correct me, Philtech can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they would. Glide was originally introduced as an embroidery thread
Yes.
in the market. That's really what it was sought after. But with embroidery and with quilting machines, that needle moves at a very, very, very high speed.
Yeah.
So somebody at Philtech, someone very smart, said, "Oh, we
Let's
should market
try-
this towards long arm quilters
Let's
as
try it in
well
there.
because their machines move
At a
very,
high
very
speed.
fast at a high speed as well."
Yeah.
And it works beautifully.
It does.
Side note about Glide and Fantastico and a few other
Affinity.
ones. Affinities? Yeah, and Affinity. If the reason the trilobal fibers like make your stitches look so good with Glide and Fantastico is since the fiber is a trilobal, it's kind of like a triangle underneath a tiny, tiny microscope.
Mhm.
The light refracts off of that fiber better because it's a triangle and it allows the stitch to have definition and shadowing. That's why your stitches look so good with a trilobal thread.
Okay. Okay. Good to know.
I learned that.
You did.
I'm so smart. The more you know, the more you know.
There you go.
So we always like that. So that's kind of weight.
Mhm.
Weight, you're really looking at how much it weighs to
Yes.
get to a certain amount.
Okay. So
get to
we got the weight down.
So we get
Check.
to weight. We'll check that off the list.
What about text?
text?
Because when I was introduced into the quilting world back
Mhm.
in 2001,
Mhm,
the things that we sold were all text based
mhm,
because they were commercial.
mhm.
And it was when the threads started being put on big cones. It was
Mhm.
like way before any of these other brands were out there. It was
Right.
American and for Permacorn Signature, and they're all
Right.
text based.
Yeah.
So tell me, why is that?
So text was introduced, and they think it's most likely derived from the term textile as a more, which makes sense,
Yeah.
as a more standardized version of how to measure the size of a thread
Okay.
or the thickness or the density, the diameter of the thread fiber. And so when you're looking at text, it goes off of how much, like how it goes off of 1,000 meters.
1,000 meters.
1,000 meters of thread.
Uh-huh.
If that weighs X grams, it is then a text X.
So if
Okay.
we have 1,000 meters,
So
it
if
weighs 30 grams,
Mhm.
it's considered a
Text
text 30 thread.
text 30 thread.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how that one's determined.
Okay.
And so they're trying to make it a more standardized thing across all things to try to
Textile
move away
industry.
from weight and from denier and from standard number composition. There's
Oh,
like
yeah, 'cause
5
there's
different
like denier
ways
too. Who knew
to
all
figure
these
this
things?
out.
Yeah.
They're slowly trying to move away from that to have one standardized thing.
Okay.
But however, we all like to hold on to what we know,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is fine. But yeah, that text is how that's determined. So like for Omni,
Mhm.
1,000 meters of Omni weighs 30 grams.
Okay.
It is a text 30.
But what's funny about that is that if you did it the other way, it's a weight 40.
Correct.
Yeah. So it gets kind of
It gets
confusing.
really confusing really quick.
So
But it's
sometimes
just
when
when
you
you're
just
looking
look,
at
yeah,
it.
when you look at the number,
Mhm.
say, I ordered a weight 40 thread. Why does it say text 30 on it? It actually, well, that one actually is a weight 40 and a text 30.
Approximately.
It's approximately, it's
Yeah.
just basically the same thing. Some text 30s can be weight 50s.
Mhm.
So it's all based on, sorry,
Man,
based on
we
the
are
weight.
live.
I know. Talking
Get
too
some
much.
water. Get some water.
Fibers
The
blowing in
fibers
the air.
going in the air.
My allergies.
But it's also so with text, and this text kind of makes a little bit more sense.
Mhm.
The higher the number, the heavier the thread,
That
the
does
thicker the
make-
thread. That
yeah.
makes a little bit more sense where weight's opposite.
Opposite.
But did you know this one's, you're gonna love this.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Let me grab that one.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, let me grab that one. I don't know what I'm grabbing. I don't think we have two of the same. Oh, yes, we do. This one and this one.
Okay.
Okay. So a So Fine
Okay.
is a 50 weight polyester thread.
Correct.
Okay. Masterpiece is a 50 weight cotton thread. Did you know that just because they both say 50 weight does not mean that they are both the same thickness?
No.
Because polyester weighs less than cotton.
Oh, just enough to just like confuse us, Corey.
I'm not trying to confuse you. I'm just trying to throw in all the information.
No,
because
really?
you'll see cotton threads quilted out, like a 50 weight cotton thread quilted out, and you'll do it right next to a 50 weight polyester thread, and the cotton thread looks a little like the stitch looks a little more defined. It looks a little thicker. It's because cotton weighs more than poly. So when they're doing out that weighing scale, the cotton gets to a 50 weight a little bit faster than a poly does.
You know what we should do? We should find these scales and we should try to weigh it ourselves on a video.
Okay.
That'd be kind of fun.
I mean, yeah,
like,
that would be kind of fun.
those shows that when they do, they test like Mythbusters. So, that doesn't. I probably shouldn't have said that word.
Now they're going to send us a payment.
Yeah, exactly.
For saying.
No, but you guys know what I'm talking about. You know, it'd be kind of fun to kind of do
It would be kind of cool to see, like, if these are really what they say they are.
Works it out. Yeah,
it'd be kind of interesting.
Is.
But that one kind of threw a wrench in it when I was looking at it. I was like, oh, okay. So what's the point? It's like trying to figure out kind of what you're looking for and what you want to know about the threads. Majority of threads you're going to see for embroidery is normally a 40 weight.
Yeah, it's the most common.
For most common. For quilting, it's either like a Tex 30 or a Tex 40.
Which would equate sometimes to a weight 40 or weight 50. They kind of bounce off of each other in a way.
They get to about a middle point, and then they start to go the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Normally, you'll see about a middle ground with when it gets to about between Tex 30, Tex 40, weight 50. Yeah. They slowly start to intersect, and then they go opposite directions again.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to compare apples to apples and apples to oranges.
Oh, I like what Lisa said. Threadbusters.
Threadbusters.
Yes.
Genius. No one used that. Trademarked. Done. Okay. But it's like when you're comparing threads, if you're looking at wanting to try a different thread, you would want to look for another thread that's in the same family.
Yeah.
So like if you're using Glide 40 right now and you want to try a variegated embroidery thread or a variegated quilting thread, if you're used to using a 40 weight polyester, you want to go look for another 40 weight polyester until you slowly move into trying a 50, a 60, a 100 or whatever.
Exactly.
Because that's going to give you the easiest transition. And then since you have that right, then you can work from there depending on tension and needle size to determine your density and all that other fun stuff.
Cool. So we've talked about weight. We've talked about text. If you guys have questions, definitely throw them in here. You want to check Graham and see if there's anything. And so definitely put your questions in. We want to answer those for you.
Yep.
But now, after today, learning some other different words.
I've got more stuff. Folks.
And I've seen them before, but I really just didn't know what they meant. So what's denier?
So these are just going to be... this is just definitions now. Going from here. So denier is with 9,000 meters of thread.
Okay.
9,000 meters. Could you imagine? So 9,000 meters of thread. Whatever that weighs in grams determines the denier. So if 9,000 meters of thread weighs 120 grams, it is 120 denier. It's a denier 120.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's just so weird that they didn't go to one consistent thing. Like there's so many different things. Like
which I think is what they're trying to do with text. They're trying to slowly move to that so it's one nice, easy, cohesive system. But even when you get to that, it's still you'd have to look at it between both fiber types or even silk too. You got to do silk to silk, poly to poly, cotton to cotton.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, it gets all over the place.
Yeah.
So,
and we'll definitely. So we had a question about the file type. We'll put the link in the video on how to get this file that we have.
Oh, yes. So all this information, again, that we're talking about, majority of it, besides the knowledge that we've accumulated over the 20 plus years we've been doing this, is from Superior Threads. We will drop the link in the description below once this video is done.
Yep.
We'll upload it in there. So you can click on it and go straight to their website and read these. Because I'm sure as we're talking about it, pen is burning on the paper. And they say, well, there's that, and then there's that, and then there's that. But they really talk it through really nice.
Yeah, they do. It is pretty broken down.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right, so that's denier. Because I have seen denier on like one or two things I've seen at shows and stuff.
You normally see denier on like rayon threads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
And embroidery threads, they look at denier that way.
Got you.
Yeah.
So another thing I had no clue. It's like
this one threw me, folks. This next one threw me.
Yeah.
On to 75.
So number composition.
No,
So
just
like-
number.
No, just number.
Just number
Oh, now
system.
we have number system. Okay.
There's number system.
Okay, this is the one that says NO for number in front of
Mhm,
it, and we thought all this time it meant weight.
Yeah, so if you see like NO, so like number 50, for the longest time, and I will be the first one to scream it from the rooftops,
Yeah.
I thought that meant it was a 50 weight thread. Number
Yeah.
50 was 50 weight. No, that's not what that means. A number system is a standard that was developed in Japan and is known as the Gunz count system. Okay, it's just a numbering. The smaller the number, the thinner or the heavier the thread. Excuse me, which would coincide with what weight is.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
It's not the same classification or definition as weight. So if you see a number 50, that's not a 50 weight, folks.
It doesn't mean it's a 50
That
weight.
doesn't necessarily mean it's a 50 weight.
That's confusing.
And the numbers can be different depending on the cotton or poly fiber as well.
Oh my goodness.
It's like, so that's, they're, like I said, going back and forth and again, it really comes into text.
Yeah.
And they're really trying to standardize it with that one number that makes it very easy to go to the shelf and say, okay, this and this are almost identical.
That would be nice.
In thread thickness.
Who do we talk to? Who do we send a letter to?
Who do we send a letter? Well, there's 5 different systems. So I go, that's minimum
That's a
5.
lot of people.
That's minimum 5 letters we've got to draft. But I feel like each of those 5 systems has 15, 20 people underneath. That's minimum 100 letters we got to draft up. You're on it, buddy.
Right. It'd be nice to just definitely have one system, because then it would be easier for everybody that's out there that's using the threads, whether it's in sewing, quilting, embroidery, whatever you're doing. If it wouldn't be so confusing.
Well, like if you quote for customers, I know some customers, try to bring threads that they found and that they like.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it said number 50, and you talk about using 50 weight. So I thought this was the same thing. Well, it might be a number 50 silk.
Yeah.
That's not a 50
that
weight.
Is not a 50 weight. That's true.
So that's when it can, it'd be nice just to have one standardized system, but also taking all of this information and slowly digesting it helps you make a better informed decision on what thread you want to go for.
Which is why we wanted to do this video. We wanted to make sure you guys had the information you needed. So when you're out there, when you're shopping online, whether you're purchasing from us or from other people, if you're in quilt stores and you're seeing all these different threads, because when we did the shop hopping, I saw all kinds of thread brands that I had never heard of before.
Oh my gosh.
And they had the weights, the deniers, they had all this
so
stuff
many different
on
ones out there.
So, and I was lost.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. What does that exactly mean? Because it didn't really look like a thread that I was used to. So
typically
you definitely want to be educated on that.
Yeah.
All right.
Judy said, thanks, Corey, for explaining about long arm needles. I bought the correct size needle and my thread quit shredding.
That's awesome.
Has a lot to do with the eye of the needle being 40% larger than the thread going through it, because that thread goes back and forth through the needle. I remember Rick did a video on that.
A lot
10
of times.
Oh,
I think
it could be different.
That,
don't quote me on that, but it goes through the eye of the needle a lot before it actually creates the stitch.
Yeah.
So if that needle hole is not large enough, the needle eye isn't large enough for the thread to go back and forth smoothly through it, then that's going to cause shredding, breakage, all sorts of things.
Exactly.
But since she brought up needles.
Okay.
Remember, we went during our All Texas Shop Hop adventure that I'm sure all of you followed along. Thank you. We found a book on needles.
Oh, that's right. We did.
And I've started reading it because I have nothing else better to do on my Friday nights.
He's growing up. He's becoming an adult.
I'm figuring out that I like to go to Costco at Tuesday at night when no one's there.
Yep.
I don't like traffic. I'm losing my patience for crowds. I understand now why my mother likes to stay at home. This makes sense. But I love people, so it's really hard for me.
Yeah,
but anyway, going back to it, we got off on tangent. The needle book. So I think it'd be really cool for us to do a needles video.
Oh yeah.
Another one. We've done a really good one before.
Yeah.
But I think a little bit further in depth on branching off of just long arm needles.
And going into some
sewing needles, embroidery needles, and different things like that.
Yeah, that book had a lot of great information in it. So that's really good.
Cool one.
Yeah. Let us know if you'd like a video like that.
That'd be fun.
Yep. Okay. So we said one more. We said composition, right?
Oh, we have a question on Instagram.
Okay.
Brooke said, so are we saying I can use my quilting threads on my embroidery machine also? Yes and no. Depending on which thickness or text or weight thread you have, I'd be careful on putting a super duper thick thread through your embroidery machine.
Yeah.
So I always watch that.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good question, Brooke. I think that the majority of it would be the weight 40, because that's what was made, and the trilobal, so the polyester, the shiny. From everything I've seen, most embroidery thread is like a shiny thread.
Majority of them
To
are
go
going to have a
through-
little bit of a sheen.
That go through
Yeah.
the machines.
Yeah,
Not
yeah, yeah.
maybe not hand embroidery, but that actually go through the machines.
Right.
Those are the 40 weight, the shiny trilobals.
Right. Well, like Aurifil comes in a 12 weight,
For
and
hand
this is a
embroidery.
really, really thick. Not. Oh, that is
It's
a thick
pretty
thread.
thick,
It's a pretty
yeah.
thick thread.
Yeah, it's thick.
And it's great for hand embroidery work. I don't know if I would run this through my machine though.
Yeah.
Because you might have some issues with stitching and loops and different things like that. That might not be
you know
worth
what? We're not the embroidery
spending the time.
pros.
But we're not embroidery pros
But
either.
if
So it's
you
possible.
like have done those things, definitely put them in the comments. Let us know. We can help everybody out with that. Because
Yeah.
we can tell you everything quilting, but we're learning about the embroidery and sewing machine.
Well, that's a whole nother
that's a whole nother world.
ball game, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
But it's a whole nother world.
It is.
It's a whole nother world.
Is. Alrighty. Any other questions?
No, you were going with something. You said one other
I was going
thing.
to say we got to do composition still. We said there was one more standard.
Yeah, so there's another one. It's called Composition Standard.
Mhm.
And the Composition Standard was developed for cotton thread, but has also been adopted for polyester threads. It really comes down to composition numbers will be similar, but that doesn't mean they're the exact same size.
Yeah.
This gets me. This kills me. Because but for exactness, it's always necessary to compare cotton to cotton and poly to poly. You'll see for the standard for composition standard is a number / another number.
Oh.
So what that means, it's like if you see a 30/30, or a 30/3 or a 50/3, the first part of it is going to be the weight of the thread.
Okay.
So the 50 would be the weight. And if you see /3, that means it's a 3-ply thread.
Oh, I have seen stuff.
I've seen a lot of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those.
That's what the composition standard means. So it's basically putting the weight and the plies all on the same number line.
Yeah. So it could be weight. I'm reading further down.
Okay.
It could be weight, or it could be the number system number.
Oh my goodness.
But the slash is always at the end of the slash number. That's always the ply.
I'm looking to see if any of these
That's always the ply. Some of them, I think some of them do say
Some
it.
say, well, they say the 3-ply afterwards. They don't have the slash. But so they're trying to help make it
easier. I think
easier.
they're trying to make it easier.
Yeah,
well,
we need easy
puts you
people.
in the numbers.
But you know what? Now that you say that,
I think that one has it, doesn't it?
It says number 40.
It's over.
Ah!
We've been lied to
this whole time.
Okay, but the manufacturer's website says 40 weight, so I believe them.
Yeah. Yep. There we go.
It does say number 40. That's right.
Does.
I've been lied to. This whole thing was a sham.
No, we just need to weigh it.
We do need to weigh it. So we need to, what do we need to do? We need to get, how many kilometers weigh 1 kilogram?
1 kilometer. 1 kilogram.
No, 1 kilogram equals blank kilometers.
So
that's how we figure out what the weight is.
So 40.
Well, yeah. Okay, so we'll start with 40.
Yeah.
We'll start with 40
and see if
kilometers and see if that equals 1 kilogram.
Then we'll know if it's a 40 weight.
We could do a time lapse video of us pulling off the thread.
Yeah.
That can be your job.
So we just need to find the right little weigher.
Yeah, that's another thing we gotta do. We'll figure it out. Sue said it would be nice if they could standardize this.
Yes,
Sue, it would be very, very nice. And I think I think that's what they're trying to move to with the text. It's just a slow and steady thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Lisa, again, going for the thread busters. That's us. We making shirts.
I know, right?
Linda's thread busters. That's us.
All right. Well, let us know if you have any other questions. I think we kind of went over most everything. When it comes to the basics, obviously there's a lot more information.
Oh my gosh, so much more.
Just in that file, but there's so many other documents. I'm sure there's a whole book on thread. This is just like a little synopsis of it.
It's a quick thing through it.
Yeah, but we get questions every day on this. Why does that one say weight? Why does that one say text? And so we definitely wanted to break that down for you. And if you just came on a little bit later, that's at the beginning of the video. Once you post, you can go back and watch that. And then when I saw denier and number and all, so to know all the differences really does help. It educates me so I can educate the customer when they're coming in, but hopefully that educates you and helps you out as well.
It helps you make more of a confident decision when you're looking at it. You're like, oh, okay, that's what that means.
Yeah,
or okay, that's what that means. Like, I still like to use this thread, and this is what I'm going to use, but it's cool to know.
And I think one of the biggest things I learned tonight is knowing that the difference. So a Tex 40 cotton is not the same as a Tex 40 polyester, and I would not have known that.
Blew my mind.
Yeah,
I wasn't ready.
Yeah,
I wasn't ready.
It's like, what, really?
And it has everything to do with the weight of the thread. And since cotton is always heavier than polyester, because it's just how it is.
Yeah.
That's how that's determined. And I thought that was crazy.
Yeah, that is. Okay.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was
Did y'all have fun tonight with us? I had fun.
Yeah. I like sitting down and talking sometimes and just giving information.
I think this is how I want to see we're going to Gap now. I think this is how I want to see the future of After Hours.
I think some. I think I still want to like show things, but I think talking about stuff and kind of podcasting, but having
podcasting, yeah,
like a video podcast with them and letting them talk with us and ask questions.
Like I definitely want to see like techniques throughout the week.
Yeah.
That I can go and look at anytime.
Okay.
And I can comment and talk with, me or you anytime. But I think like Thursday it would just be fun for after hours just to come and be like what Good Morning LEQ was.
Oh yeah,
Good Morning LEQ was so much fun. It was just
fun.
Getting up in the morning was a lot.
Oh, I just had so much going on.
And we had Thursday night after hours and we came in the morning for Good Morning LEQ. Yeah. And so I just think sitting here gabbing, answering questions and knowing that this is a safe space to come and you can ask whatever you want to do. Quilting community and sewing community is very welcoming.
Yeah, exactly.
We are here at Linda's. We'll kick people out if they're not welcoming too.
Exactly. There's no wrong question. No bad question. No, there's no stupid question to ask because
it's still to this day we're still learning things. Golly, this one just learned why her embroidery journey stopped so fast. I'm never living. You're never living that down.
Obviously not.
You're never living that down. Sue said, I miss watching Corey doing some long arming. You just wait, Sue. Got a lot of good stuff coming.
Yes, a lot
of good stuff coming your way.
Some of those videos might not be live because that way we can really get good.
I think the majority of them are going to go to not being live for the long arming purpose wise, because I want to make sure you have the best angle and the best quality.
That's what I was going to say.
To make sure that you're getting the most out of the video.
That's what
it's fun to chat and to gab, but like we really run into camera angles, we run into lag, we run into bad quality. And we run into shakiness if I hit it or if my elbow's in the way. So we already have a system in place to make sure that we don't have to do that anymore or run into those issues. We still want to do it. Run into those issues anymore so you can get the best quality. Because if I don't like putting out bad quality product.
I know sometimes it makes me cry. Sometimes we'll have some of the lives and if something didn't work out, it didn't connect to that platform. We hit the camera like he was talking about. The battery died, anything.
The sound goes
off, which is our most common one, right? Then we actually feel really bad about that afterwards and felt like we failed at that.
Yeah, we feel like we didn't put out a good piece for
that to always be good and easy to see and
a little bit quicker. Because when we're live, we have to I love to talk through the process and I'll continue to do it, but it stops me from actually quilting.
Yeah.
So I'd really like to talk it voice over it while it's actually quilting, so you get the most out of it.
That's a good idea.
And it's not so loud, because I'm competing with the sound of the machine because my mic is right there next to it.
That's true.
So we've got a lot of good stuff happening here at Linda's. Got a lot of good things for the future. Some fun all day streaming things coming. You're going to be a part of that. You're going to be doing that.
Oh, really?
I think it'd be fun to watch me quilt a whole custom quilt one day and you just pop in and out as you feel.
Oh, I could do that. That would be easy.
You're going to watch it all day and pop in and out as you feel. You're going to go to lunch and then come back. So that's we've got a lot of cool stuff in the mix. If you ever want to see any demonstrations, you want to see a product review, different things like that, shoot us an email to support@lindas.com.
Yeah.
And we would be more than happy to add that into the queue. We're always looking for new ideas.
Yeah, for sure.
And always looking for requests from y'all, because at the end of the day, you're the ones that are watching it.
Yeah. And we love that and we appreciate it for sure. That's what keeps us coming. That's what keeps us going on.
That's why we're here.
Yep.
That's the thing.
That's it.
All right, folks. Well, we spent the last 5 minutes gabbing because we like to gab, but that's the evening. Thank you all so much for joining us and learning a little bit more about text versus weight and then denier, number system, and composition standard. If you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. We'll check those all the time. We always check them. We try to get back to you as fast as we can.
We do.
All right. We all have a great evening.
Yes.